help us out here because there's someone out there who is consistent right now, but they're nervous. Maybe they don't know what it's going to be like. So can you explain what that was like? Welcome back, everybody, to Be the Trader. Today is going to be a very special day because I brought back my man Basko. He's a friend of mine and also a consistently profitable trader who has actually been on the show before in the past. So if you don't know his story, you need to go watch that previous episode. We'll have a link in the description below. But a lot of you guys have been asking me to bring in people to discuss the transition phase. And what do you mean by that? I mean the transition phase from once you find consistent profitability to going to full-time and relying on trading as your income, which is something I don't do personally. I trade and I also manage my business, but Basko does trade full-time and he focuses solely on trading. So this is something that I really wanted to dive in deep with him because I talk with him on a regular basis. So Basko, welcome back to the show, my man.
Yeah, what's up, man? Happy to be here.
Yeah, man. It's good to talk to you again. It's good. We talk all the time, but it's cool to talk about this subject. And this is something we haven't really dived into together. So I'm really excited to do that. So I'm curious, like when you found consistency, right? How long till you said, okay, I've been consistent for this long, I'm going to go full time. Like, could you remember that?
Yeah, for sure. Like for me, once I found consistency, I went for it pretty quick, but it was not only because I had confidence in my own skill, but also at that time, Corona was hitting and my old job, I used to be a manager at a beach restaurant from a friend of mine, and he was starting to get in pretty much trouble. And so I figured it would help him a lot if I stopped, and I wanted to chase my dream. So I think I went pretty fast. I think it was around 3 months consistent, if you can call it consistent for that short period. So it was pretty short time, but I figured I'm going to be more mad if I don't try than failing. And once I really had to rely on my trading for income, I just felt like I had to make it work. It was pretty stressful for sure, but we're still here.
We are, because now we're in 2022 and you did this in 2020. So I want to know after 3 months, like, so you were just 3 months of consistent, like, was that your first 3 months of profitability, or like, did you kind of have consistency of like a couple of green months and then a bad month? And like, can you explain what that was? Or was it just purely your first 3 months that you're like, hey, I'm doing this right, I'm going all in?
Yeah, for me, like I had a couple of green months before, sure, but I was stuck in the boom and bust cycle for pretty long. So I would be doing good for like 2 weeks consistent, and then I would lose all of those gains and sometimes even a little bit more in just a day by revenge trading. And that bad day would influence my mentality a lot, and that would snowball in, I think, 1.5 weeks of bad trading. Then I would finally find my groove again, and the same thing would happen over and over again. And once I really noticed that I start to get a grip on that side of myself, I start to have a lot more faith in myself. And I had a really solid group around myself with people that were really trying to help me. And that helped me a lot, and to also have the confidence to try it.
I want to take this time to say thank you to our sponsor, Cobra Trading. Cobra Trading is the go-to broker for day traders and short sellers. And I'm not the only one saying this. In fact, Benzinga awarded Cobra Trading as the go-to broker for short selling. They have a heavy focus on direct market access order routing, so you have the fastest execution. They have some of the best low-K prices and availability. They also have amazing customer service. I've experienced many different brokers, and it's why I use them every single day and why I'm proud to have them as our sponsor. Sign up now by clicking the Be the Trader referral link below and earn 1 free month of software with Cobra and 25% off all commissions. Now let's get back to the show. So there's 2 things you said there that really I want to point out before we go deeper into the transition phase. And that is, number one, like that that little boom and bust cycle? Because I know someone's listening to this and they're like, well, I mean, how was it just like, how did you get out of that? So do you remember what you did, or what helped you get out of that cycle to get to those 3 months and to have that confidence at those 3 months to say, forget it, I'm going in?
um, one thing I definitely noticed the difference in is I was starting to catch myself before it was happening, like realizing what I was doing, and sometimes still doing it, but then realizing it really fast and getting out of the position, like, wait a second, I remember this. So I guess it just happened enough times for me to figure out how I was behaving when these things were going to happen. Like for example, I was starting to click very nervously with my mouse in the broker on the same place. And after a while, I spotted myself like, hey, I'm doing this right now. And then you get out of position. And once you really notice, hey, I would have lost at least 1-2 weeks of work today if I would have continued, and you did not that day. That gives you a lot of confidence.
And what about the whole idea of, like you said, you were around certain people that really helped you and motivate you or gave you the confidence to keep going and to grow? Could you explain real quickly what you mean by that?
I was in a couple of chat rooms, like still searching for a place where I really wanted to be, find like-minded people.
Yeah.
And at the time, I did not know that many people in the industry. And just by pure luck, I came across Scott, and we started talking a little bit. And after a while, I did not really realize how much value there was in that guy.
Jesus,
And
so much.
yeah, really a lot. And after a while, like, I was still searching around for other chat rooms, even paid chat rooms, and somehow still not really finding my groove. And after a while, I somehow got out of all the other chat rooms, was not happy at it, and really focused on his Discord.
Yeah.
And he just kept encouraging me and teaching me a lot. And I can really say that he's a big part of why I was able to do it pretty fast, I think.
I love it, man. I love it. And if you guys are wondering, like, well, how long has Basko been trading so far? Why aren't you asking that? Go watch the previous episode where we dive into his whole story, because today I'm assuming you know his background. Now, Basko, we're going to talk about after those 3 months, you had consistency, you made some money, right? And shout out to Scott. I call him old man Scott. He's a good friend of mine. He's a mentor of mine as well, 100%. And he's given me tons of confidence in trading as well. So I completely stand by you, Basko, aka Bastion, but I know you as Basko, right? So with that being said, after those 3 months, right? What was it like? Like, how did you prepare mentally? Did you prepare mentally, or what were you thinking in that last third month when you decided the next month I'm going to be full time? Like, help us out here, because there's someone out there who is consistent right now, but they're nervous. Maybe they don't know what it's going to be like. So can you explain what that was like?
Yeah, it was like it was a little bit double-edged. At the one side, I was really excited to get this started, like work on my own schedule, don't have a boss anymore. So it was really exciting. And I think I was a little bit too excited sometimes, maybe, like definitely over trading, like, hey, I'm a trader now. And it was also really stressful, like to actually have to pay your bills with trading. And when I went full time, my account was not that crazy big yet, so it was definitely stressful. But I think I worked pretty well under stress, and glad I made it work.
So in that first month, right? Was it like good month right after that? Or like, did you hit a wall? Like, was it just pretty easy? Can you explain that? Like after the
That's
third
actually
month
a
and you
good
went full
question. I'm
time.
actually not sure if my first month was good. Sorry, I'm not sure.
That's okay.
I couldn't say.
What do you recall though? Like of those first few months of full time, like was there any struggle, or did it seem like it was just kind of like status quo, if you will?
Oh no, there was lots of struggle still. And even now, when I look back on that period, I realize how badly I underperformed. I was still searching a little bit for my own trading style. I thought I knew, but at the time I was doing a lot of intraday trading and everything. And now I really transitioned way more to swing trading. I only have a couple setups I like to day trade. And so I was still searching a lot. And the guys in the chat room, they all trade different styles. So I talked with them a lot and tried different things. So it was trial and error, I would say.
And here's the thing, I'm curious about, how did you pay yourself? Like, I know you got to pay bills, right? Like, because I know someone's thinking like, well, how do I get a, like, how should I prepare to pay myself? Like, how should I, like, still grow my account? Like, how did you balance growing your account and paying yourself without the mind getting into your trading, right? And making you trying to force trades on months that maybe didn't have a lot of opportunity. Maybe there wasn't, the opportunities that did present themselves weren't that good that month. You know how things can just change.
Yeah, for sure. I had some money saved up for sure. And I planned it out for me, for myself a little bit, like, okay, if I use that amount a month, how long can I survive on that money I still have left on my bank account?
Yep.
And I have an apartment which I rent out, so that gives me some income. It's not enough to live off, but in combination with what I saved up, it definitely gave me a runway for at least 1.5 years.
Okay.
So in my mind, I was like, okay, I have 1.5 years to grow my account to a point where it can provide me. And that helped a lot.
So if I'm understanding correctly, you focused first on growing the account before taking any money out then, even when you went full time, or did you take some money?
I only took money, like a little bit of money out a couple of times, but it was not a lot. But I still felt pressure that I had to make the money to pay the bills, because my bank account was getting smaller by the month. So I definitely still felt pressure to make money.
And what was that like compared to before you went full time? Like, was it significantly different, or was it pretty much the same? Like, because when you're not trading full time, you have the pressure of trying to get to full time. And then when you get to full time, you have the pressure of trying to make, so was it the same pressure? Was it a little bit different? Can you explain that?
It was definitely different. Like from my job, I was used to getting paid like once a month and the same amount. And what was really different now was that I also had to do nothing sometimes. And that was really hard. Like, there is no setup today. I would keep searching for something to trade until I found something and either lost or made money. And probably when I made money, it was by forcing it. So I definitely had a hard time to accept that some days there is just not a good setup and you cannot trade. That was really hard on me, for sure.
Would you say you're better at it now, where you will not trade if there's no good trades, compared to when you first went full time?
Yeah, I think I've gotten a lot better at it, but especially now in 2022, in the early stage of the year, I still had lots of good setups to trade, and I made decent money, I would say. But like the last month was good, but the months before, like there was like 1.5, 2, maybe even 3 months where there was really just not much to do. And the first month was fine, but the second month I started to try and force things, because I still feel the pressure of, hey, I want to grow and I want to get to the next level. But the market was just not ready to provide the setups for me to go to the next level. So being patient and not trading for months, that's really hard.
And for people who don't know, you are a swing trader primarily, right?
Yeah.
And so in your strategy really works and really thrives. And I don't want to put words in your mouth. So if you can explain just real quickly, like what your strategy is in general, and when it thrives and when it kind of doesn't.
Yeah, my strategy definitely works best when the market's in a trending market. Like it's fine if it's a trending bear market or a trending bull market, but sideways chop market is just, well, all my main setup would be just a daily breakout or breakdown out of a range. And when this market is trending, like I don't care if I'm short and I'm making money on the short side or long side, that's fine. But when the market is sideways, there will be a lot of fake breakouts or breakdowns, and you'll just get chopped up.
Mm. And let's talk about that though, because drawdowns when you are working a job are significantly different than drawdowns when you are not working a job. How did you handle those drawdowns? Like I'm assuming you face, I mean, I know you a little bit more personally. So I know sometimes we face drawdowns, and it sounded like for those 2 or that month and a half or 2 months where it's kind of like sideways, it was either real slow for you, or maybe you could consider a drawdown. How do you consider if it was a drawdown? You can explain that in a minute. How'd you handle that mentally? Like, was it very taxed? Did you do anything outside of trading to help you? Like, can you explain how you handled that?
Yeah, well, I definitely went in a drawdown for sure. I realized it a little bit too late. I should at least have sized down. I was trying a couple too many plays, forcing it here and there, and I definitely went into a drawdown. I kept it within reasonable range. It's nothing crazy, but it's definitely frustrating, and it's getting to you. Once you are in, let's say, a 10-15% drawdown, you start to really second guess yourself, like, hey, can I do this? And what if my setup won't work again, and things like that. So it definitely stresses you out for sure.
Did you do anything to help you during that process to keep your confidence, to continue to pull the trigger, to continue to push forward? Because a lot of people, that's really hard, right? It's really hard to face that, let alone just relying on your income, right? But it's really hard to face that and then continue to push forward and grow, right? Like, so how was there anything you did, or is it just, I just kept going?
Yeah, it's definitely, I just tried to grind it out. Like, just keep at it, keep showing up every day, keep scanning every night. I just try to really stay on top of things. And I know at some point my setups will start working better again. And I just felt like I just have to be ready. Like, I can't miss the opportunities when they present themselves. But at the same time, it's also really hard to keep that FOMO in check. And I definitely struggled a little bit with that part. I even talked to my old friend, like he's my best friend, and he owns a couple beach restaurants here. And I even talked to him like, hey, what if I don't do good enough to like keep making my money here? Yep. Can I work for you? So I even started to at least look at backup plans. I'm in this, and I'm not going away. Even if I would blow up, I would keep at it until this works. But I was like, nah, if this whole year is just sideways and bad market, why not at least work a couple hours a week and help my friend out? So I even looked into other things to make some money for sure.
I'm so glad you said that, because a lot of people need to hear this. Like, just because you go full time doesn't mean, number one, doesn't mean you need to make tons of money. You just need to cover your expenses. Number two, you can always have a part-time job or have something to fall back on, which is super important, because you don't have to give up trading, right? You don't have to give it up. A lot of us love this. So I'm curious on two things before we wrap this up, Basko. And that is, number one, if you could go back to that third month and give yourself any words of wisdom that you've learned over these next couple of years, year and a half of being full-time, what would you tell yourself to help you go through this next couple of years?
I would definitely tell myself to study way more instead of trading. Like, I was really actively trying to make money. And I think I would have went faster to higher P&L if I focused more time on actually studying. Like, now I'm at the point where even I'm like, hey, I could take a job next to this. I feel confident in what I do. I know what I have to do. And I definitely did not feel like that back then. Like, for me, the market opens midday, like 3:30 p.m. So I have the whole morning free, basically. I scan in the evening. So in the morning, I'm just chilling, waiting for the market to open, maybe go to the gym or walk with the dog or whatever. But I don't have that FOMO of trading that much anymore. It definitely helps a lot when you really know how your setups work. So definitely I would encourage myself to study way more.
And is there something that you're currently working on right now that you believe can really help you grow as a trader?
I am trying to definitely work on my own website. But that's also part of a distraction for me to not overtrade. And I noticed that when I really try to go in depth in a topic, it definitely helps me understand that topic better as well. So I try to pick some topic, for example, what you just mentioned, the drawdown.
Yeah.
I went in a drawdown and I was like, hey, let's actually figure this out. Like, what are the smart steps? How do you handle a drawdown? What are the smart steps here? And really diving into that topic for like a couple of days definitely helps me a lot. And I hope to also help some other people with it.
I'm glad you said that, because I want to give you a couple of minutes. If you can tell people, because I'm sure they're probably like, what website, where are you at? How can I get in touch with you? Could you let people know real quick if anyone had any questions, like, or they want to learn more about you, where they can find you?
Yeah. My website's called alphaswings.com. And you can find me on Twitter under Basko. And now also in your Discord, and I try to be a little bit active in there for sure. So I think
which is a lounge, it is not a chat room, it's a lounge.
Yeah, but I think easiest place would be if people reach out to me on Discord in your chat room, definitely. But feel free to reach out to me on my website as well. I'm happy to try and help people.
Awesome. Well, look, Basko, it's always a pleasure talking to you, and I appreciate you, because I know a lot of people right now are replaying this or they're sharing it with another trader, because there's a lot of value here, especially for a lot of traders who are in that transition phase. So thanks again, brother.
Thanks so much, Alex.